gentle listeners, and for the first time ever viewers, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Prima Nerd Podcast. My name is Nisa, and I am joined, as always, by my avenging co-host and cousin, Bela.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and today we are going to be discussing phase one of Marvel. I'm having a hard time speaking today. I don't know why. But we're just going to go with it. Today should be fun. This is going to be interesting. So phase one of Marvel phase one, because it's way too many movies to do all at once, to do individually. That'd be our whole entire podcast, most likely. And
yes,
we don't want to focus on Marvel. So we are going to be splitting up in phases. So phase one, that is Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers.
Yeah. And also there is one movie between Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. There is the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
The Incredible Hulk, because there is two movies.
Yeah.
But it's not owned by Marvel. It's owned by Universal. So you're just saying that...
Well, technically it is.
There is a movie about him.
Yeah, it's owned by Universal Studios. No, they have the rights to the character to do a standalone movie. So that's why you can see the Hulk appear in other movies as a character, but he cannot have his own standalone movie with Marvel Studios. Maybe, I think I read somewhere maybe that they'll do a television series. Maybe, I don't know. That could be it. That could be an option. It's an option. It can something that can happen, but they can't do a standalone movie, which is why, since it wasn't on Disney Plus, I didn't get a chance to watch it. So we are not going to discuss it. However, it is there. It introduces the character of the Hulk. It takes place in Brazil, which was the only thing that I found interesting about it. Edward Norton, who originally played this version of the Hulk, speaks Portuguese pretty well, I have to say. And that's the two things that I remember from the movie. That, and of course,
well, I remember the story of the movie, like the accident with the gamma
radiation,
and the girl that he likes, and the father of the girl is from the army.
Yeah,
and there is a big fight in the end with tanks and helicopters, I think, and they destroy the city. I remember pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember little things. I'm saying, like, it wasn't. Those are the two things that really I remember standing out to me the most from the story. And then, of course, you have the fact that these characters are very big in the comic books. I know that the general who is after him, Ross, becomes Red Hulk in the future. The other one is the Abomination. So I know a little bit, but other than that, I was just like...
There is another thing that I remember very well from this movie. The fact that Hulk can jump like miles away. Like it's... I remember this, like one jump, it's miles and miles and miles of this. He can travel jumping.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, so we're going to start, for now, officially what we're going to start talking about is Iron Man, which came out in May of 2008. It had a budget of 140 million, and it grossed worldwide 586 million. I am rounding up the number. I am not saying that whole entire thing. So, in other words, it was a success, which is really good considering the fact that, in other words, Marvel basically got back its property. Marvel took out a loan of about, I think, 500 million from the bank to be able to make Iron Man, because at the time Marvel was not doing well at all. Like, that's why you have so many different studios who had Marvel characters as part of their properties. Like, you had Sony with Spider-Man, you have Fox with X-Men, and I think Fantastic Four. But you have
I think so.
all of these movies were not, and Marvel wasn't really gaining a lot of money on these characters. Some of them they just sold the rights to the name, but they didn't get anything back. So this was a very big gamble for them. They basically threw all their eggs in one basket, decided, hey, we're gonna test to see if this works out. And if it didn't, they would have lost everything. Interesting choice too, to start with a superhero that not many people knew anything about. I think a lot of people actually thought Iron Man was a robot, from what I read somewhere. They didn't. I
Yeah,
also I had no idea who Iron Man was before this came out. I don't remember.
me neither.
To be honest, I
I
don't
think,
remember why I wanted to see this movie. Like, what convinced? I mean, obviously, yes, I saw the trailer and wanted to see it, and there was all the hype around it. But I don't remember like the full experience of seeing it. I must have gone to see it in the theater, but I don't remember this one as much.
well,
Why?
I didn't know Iron Man neither. I think only the people who really like the to read the comics knew,
Yeah,
because of the Avengers and everything. Um, I didn't know about the Avengers. I knew about the Justice League, but I didn't know about the Avengers as well.
that's true. Yeah,
Um, and I remember that I watched it in the cinema with in the theater, cinema theater. What's the correct
either
word?
one, either one works.
Okay, so I watched it with a friend. I remember that there was a like an year that I didn't see or speak with this friend, and we decided to go see this movie, and we love it. We became really fan of Iron Man.
No, I remember. Oh no, liking the movie. I remember that part. I remember. I just don't remember the going to go see this movie. But so I thought two things. One, also before I forget, this movie was directed by Jon Favreau, who did an amazing job. He also plays Happy in the movie.
Happy that is not happy.
No, yeah, but that's also a reference. Happy Hogan, his name being Happy, is an actual thing in the comic book. That because he's always so serious, he's called Happy.
Why so
So
serious? Say, say serious. I remember
this
that. Why
is
so serious?
not this is not a DC Batman
I
the
know, but when you
episode.
say he is very serious, I remember why so serious.
I get it,
Sorry,
but we are not
I will control myself.
we are not the Joker does not exist in this world.
I make a lot of this, right? Like talking about the scene when we
No, I mean
talking
I do
about
too, but I'm
Marvel.
just teasing you because you're like literally like, oh maybe no, it's not. So and he's the one who wanted Robert Downey Jr. to play Iron Man, which I fully agree with. I thought he's perfect. And I loved why he said that he wanted Joss. I was about to say Joss Whedon. That's several movies down, and that's another
Yeah.
director, not an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Why he wanted Robert Downey Jr. I love it, by the way. Can I just mention this? I love when we talk about celebrities, we say their full name every single time. It's not just the first name; it's the full name. Always.
Yeah, not to put Robert. No, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. Or as in my notes, I wrote down RDJ just to make my life easier. um, so he wanted him to play Iron Man because he thought that he could make Iron Man a likable asshole, which I thought was the best description.
True.
It's
true.
And because of Robert Downey Jr.'s personal life, with everything that went happened to him, with like having to basically pick up his career again, the struggles he had, going to jail, and all these things. He thought that he could bring real depth to the character, which, yeah, have to agree, he really did.
Yeah. No, it's true. I agree. And about this, another two actors was interested in playing Tony Stark is Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise.
So if
And
Nicolas
I can
Cage,
imagine neither
no,
of them
no. Well, I did
playing
say
Iron
two
Man.
things.
Like, uh,
I was gonna say two. One, if Nicolas Cage had, for example, had become Iron Man, which I can't envision, I can't see. It would have been the same thing as Chris Evans. They both would have been played two Marvel characters in two different movies. He played Ghost Rider, and now he'd be playing Iron Man.
It's true. He's
And Chris
Ghost Rider. Yeah.
So that would have.
But I think he likes superheroes because I think he wanted to play Superman as well. I think I saw a meme about this.
I think everyone wanted to play Superman. So many. Anyway,
no, I mean I don't. We'll talk about this later.
You're not an actor.
Yeah, there is this, but I don't like Superman.
Like, but you know, it's a big role to play. Anyway, so and then, but out of the two, I think, Tom Cruise would have been an interesting choice. Again, choice. Let's pronounce that word correctly. Choice, because he does have a lot of charisma, and he does have humor. Because if you watch Mission Impossible, he has a tendency to do, like, in the midst of doing tons of fight, like I love when he gets beat up and he has to like figure out how to get out of it. It's he doesn't say a one word and he's hilarious, but I still can't see anyone else but Robert Downey Jr. I'm just saying that if you had to choose between those two, kind of can see Tom Cruise a little bit more than I can see Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Not saying I want that to happen though, making that very clear. No. Very happy with how it is.
Just
an observation. Now, this movie, first off, while rewatching all of this, what I liked about rewatching it is that once you've seen all the phases we've seen, right? This closes out this phase. Like the next phase is starting. This story has been closed out that we've been leading up to. This story has been closed out within these three phases. And what I liked about it is that you see callbacks later on, like the foreshadowing of things that are going to be then come very relevant later on in the movie, later on, not only in its own movies, but also going down the line. Like for me, two things in this one was the hammering sound when Tony is in the cave, not GV.
It's a type of cage because he was trapped in there.
Yeah, I guess that's the point. So, mind you, she's the one who speaks English as a second language, and I'm the one who's struggling. So that hammer sound is what you hear at the end of Endgame. Like when instead of having like an end credit scene, they don't have that, but they do have the hammer sounds, and it's a callback, of course, to this. And then you also
when all this began.
Yeah. And then of course you have the little thing that comes out of his chest that Pepper Potts gives to him that says proof that Tony Stark has a heart. When I saw her give it to him, it's like, oh,
cute.
Oh, and then it's a bittersweet because you know how it's significant when you see it in an Endgame. But what I also liked about this movie is that it's, like I said, it sets the tone. It has a very good balance of humor, action, and that it has the action kind of revolves around the story a little bit. It doesn't it's not just action. There's actually a story that they're creating something. They're making these superhero story grounded in like real life. They're not this fantastical world, which if you think about it, X-Men started doing too. Like when they created X-Men, they made it more realistic, like the costumes and that, and I kind of feel like this is what Iron Man did. Like, let's keep it
more realistic because
the
power. Anyway,
like wanting to keep it realistic. There's the whole point of Tony working on the car. Bella, oh, you froze for a second. I'm like, oh no, no, we're losing connection. No.
No, I'm here.
The scene where he's working on the car, because one of the things, 2 seconds, let me go back so I can explain my thought process. The scene where he's working on the car is when they've gone back and to tell the story of how he got into that car at the beginning of the movie, which I like that the movie did. Like you start the action about 16 minutes into the action, he's driving this car, he's in this Hummer, explosion, and then it goes back and tells you how he got there. So the scene where he's fixing that like old-fashioned roadster car is one, that car actually belongs to Jon Favreau. 2, that was put in there so that way when you see him in the cave working on creating the armor, it's not so like, wait, where did he learn how to do this? Like when you see a character all of a sudden know how to fight when he never fought, a second all of a sudden he knows how to do everything. So they didn't want that to happen, so they made sure to put it in there that he does know how to create things. He actually is the inventor. It's not just he's a billionaire and that he actually is the person who knows how to do that. And that was something that they want, which I think, yeah, when you see him creating it in the cave, you're not like, how does he know how to do this? Because you see that he's actually is the mastermind behind everything. It's not just he inherited daddy's company and now he doesn't know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and I think it's kind of making him more human as well, because in real life we have hobbies in our lives, so we can connect to him as a person.
Yeah, I have to say, I loved the fact. I also like in the DVD featurettes that they have available on Disney Plus that you see a featurette with Jon Favreau, Jeff Bridges, who played Obadiah Stane, and Robert Downey Jr. working out the scene where they stand outside the benefit, where where Obadiah basically tells him who's the one who pushed you out, and you find out that he's not such a good guy as he pretends to be. So what I liked about that is that you see them literally working out how to workshopping and creating the scene. One, I love that because I find that fascinating. Two, again, it kind of shows that that process of ad-libbing and improv that they're doing the whole time. It's not just the script. They're actually like creating different things and trying to figure out how this scene works. And I love that, seeing that, like the creation of something was really cool. And the other thing is, I love the fact when you see the trailer for Iron Man, comparing it to trailers like to Endgame, Infinity Wars. They're basically the whole entire movie is in that trailer. Completely different. The whole movie is almost in that trailer. You actually get what the story is about. You get scenes. You get some of your favorite moments that you like. It's already in the trailer. Flash forward several years later to Endgame, where scenes are made up, where you have no idea if these scenes are actually in the movie.
Yeah, it's like the scene in Infinity War. There is a Hulk in the scene in the battle,
where everyone is running, and then when you look at that does not happen in the movie.
And then so there is no Hulk in the fight because Bruce can make him come up.
Yeah, he's in the Hulkbuster suit.
I don't know how to say.
He was in the Hulkbuster suit. Tony Stark's Hulkbuster suit. Well, yeah, I thought that was hilarious where you see the evolution not only of the movie but of how they designed their trailers, where they basically said, hey, come see this movie, these are all the fun things you're going to see, to now we're not telling you nothing, you're going to sit there and and see it.
Yeah, you have to come to see what happened.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just that little thing in itself says everything about how Marvel has evolved, right? To the point where they have to make up scenes to put in trailers.
I think that the difference is that because it was in the really beginning, and like the first Marvel Studios movie, and it's a big deal about this for the studio. I think it's kind of, they was selling the movie like, it's a good movie, and in the end everybody already knows it's a good movie, and everybody was like in a big hype for to see the conclusion of the whole phases, the whole 3 phases. So you see, they conquistou o público. How can I say
they won over the crowd, right? They don't have to put as much work. People are gonna, as soon as they hear that it's Marvel or whatever the superhero is, they're gonna go see it. Like, for example, phase 4, there are several superheroes I've never heard about, but I'm already excited. Like, I'm obviously going to go see this. I don't need more information than that. I mean, yes, I want to know what the story is, what it is, but I'm like, yeah, I'm sold. It's Marvel. It's a bunch of, I'm seeing it. That's it. Need you to say more to me? Nope, not really. I'm good. And that's what they did a really good job. And again, like, they set the foundation. They do things that, and then of course, let's move on to, I guess.
No, I have one more fact to say. That in 1999, Quentin Tarantino was asked to to direct the movie, like one movie, not this specific one, but one movie about Iron Man.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Can you
see
imagine
that.
this?
No.
Tarantino Iron Man.
No, because
No.
as far as I know, I could be wrong. Tarantino has a very specific style, very specific
Yes.
way of doing
Very,
things.
very.
I don't see that translating well to a suit because Iron Man isn't very violent. Like, I don't think the comic books he was a very violent character, right? As far as I know, the only ones who have a tendency to be more violent, if you're going to look at it, is, for example, Wolverine, or definitely 100% Deadpool, which has a lot of gore and everything like that. But overall, the superheroes aren't really designed very dark or very violent or everything. So I mean, unless Quentin Tarantino was willing, I guess maybe he could have done a different style, a different way. I just can't see it because all I know of his movies, like Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Django, and like I don't.
Blood,
violence, and a lot of people dying. I don't see how this. I mean, it could have done really well, but maybe not.
Yes, but
it wouldn't have been a success. I think.
But I think even if he has done a good job in a good movie, very interesting and different from this one that we know today, probably we'll just end on Iron Man. We would have this whole universe they created after this.
Yeah, the
because
Marvel Cinematic Universe
doesn't fit. Yeah, it doesn't fit with the rest of the story.
Because if you look
maybe at just one movie, like
I mean, if you look at it, yes, each movie has its own individual voice, its individual style, but they all somehow meld and mesh and fit into one world.
Yeah, and Tarantino doesn't fit in this world.
No, I don't see the combo because they did a very good job of building the foundation, of having patience to develop this world, of earning the reward to get to the point where you got Endgame, earning Endgame, earning Avengers, earning this and earning the next step and earning the culmination of Infinity Wars and Endgame. They earned it because we love these characters, we know these characters, we invested time so when we get to that point, especially Infinity Wars, if you are not invested, if you don't care about those characters, that movie, no one would have cared what happened to any of them. That movie just would be like, oh, okay, so well, that happened, that's fine, but we're invested. So it's I think
that's a battle.
So I thought that was very well done on their part. And now
I agree.
Yeah. And then Iron Man 2. So this came out in 2010. There was a 2-year gap between the first two and the first and the second. And in that break in 2009, Disney bought Marvel. So
what wouldn't happen if Tarantino did the Iron Man?
Probably not. No, I don't see. I don't see that being something Disney would want to buy or own. I don't really like. I highly doubt we'll ever see Deadpool on Disney Plus. Just
yes,
I don't see that happening.
Yes.
Yeah. So it came out in 2010, May 2010. Directed again by Jon Favreau. It had a budget of 200 million, and worldwide it grossed 624 million. Again, I am rounding up. Do not want to say all those numbers. I'm already struggling to speak English as it is. Let's not add numbers to the equation. So the interesting thing about the second movie is that first off, we get introduced to a character who becomes very important later on. Well, two characters who become important later on. And the other thing is that because of this movie, Jon Favreau did not direct
Two?
Iron Man 3. What? Yeah, there's two characters. Coulson.
Two characters?
Coulson and Black Widow.
But no,
Oh, no.
Coulson appears on the he como é que é?
Sorry, Mike. You froze for a tiny second. What was that last thing you said?
Oh, I said that Coulson appears in the first movie.
Oh yeah.
He reaches for Pepper to speak to her with.
Oh right.
Something.
I don't know why. I guess because the second one there's more Shield involvement. I forgot that he appears in the first.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coulson has been there since the beginning.
Yes, and he speaks about the Shield, just the first scene, and in the end he talks about like he shorts the name to Shield in the first movie.
Yeah. So which was a big revelation, was a big deal when they said that. That was a big deal when they did that. For anyone who was a fan of the comic books. For the rest of us who are like me, who are like, I think that means I obviously knew it meant something. I just didn't know what exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so the reason why Jon Favreau ended up not directing the third one is because during this movie he had a lot of friction between him and the higher ups at Marvel, because they kept intervening because they wanted to have more. They were requesting constant rewrites because they wanted Shield to increase the prominence of Shield in the subplot of this movie, which because they want to prepare for the Avengers and set up that world, and I get that that's very important, but it kind of disrupted a little bit.
When you see the big picture, you can see that
it was necessary.
Yeah, but maybe at the time it doesn't really.
At the time, it kind of broke the rhythm. It just kind of interrupted the plot of the movie. I guess of what he wanted for the plot, because he had to make sure that Shield was involved. But actually, I was correct. I just got it wrong. There was two characters introduced. You have the Black Widow and the Senator Stern.
Okay, yeah.
He's important later on in Winter Soldier. Yeah. So I
wasn't remembering him.
No, I remember the first time watching. I'm like, oh yeah, you're important. I love the scene at the end where he's the one forced to give the pin to Rhodey and Stark because Stark requested him. And he kind of he stabs Tony with the thing. Goes, I know how annoying a little prick can be, and I'm like, when I heard that, it actually made me think of an interview with a panel with Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles of Supernatural when they were doing in their conventions, right? Where they were talking about like how ratings work and what curse words or what you can and cannot say because of networks, right? And that he said that you can call someone a dick because that's a name, right? Like Richard, the nickname for Richard is Dick, so you can call someone a dick. You cannot call someone a prick because that's a penis, is how he said it. So every time I see this scene, I always remember him saying, "You can say this, but you can say that." But and every time he called them a prick, I just remember Jensen Ackles explaining why on network television, depending on what time the show is and where the network is and who your audience are, you can say the word dick, but you can't say prick because dick is just a name. What's funny. So yeah, so you have that, and then of course there's foreshadowing in this one too.
The Shield.
Yeah.
In the, I wouldn't say the lab because it was his house.
It's his garage lab construction area. Like he basically, it's his garage / work / lab area, because that's where he makes his inventions. That's where he does everything. And it's also where he keeps his cars.
he wasn't supposed to be able to create the thing, the machine
the
that
machine he
does
creates to
the
create,
new
yeah.
element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just love the fact,
So I
but
think I think this needs a special location with the correct infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Yeah, this. I want to try to say this.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It happens a lot in Portuguese. When it's like, it's gonna let you say because I don't know how to.
But yeah, he's Tony Stark, so he's a genius, so he can do this.
Yeah, so he has a lot of money to be able to create that, right? But I just love it. Also, for me, it's also adorable to see that like Coulson finds the shield, because in Avengers you find out how much of a fan he is of Captain America. So it's really sweet when you see that, like now knowing like how big of a deal that is for him. But I just love how I think I remember seeing this in the theater and people were super excited about seeing the shield because it meant something. I'm just like, okay, so that's a reference. Yeah. Or by this point, we already knew that Captain America was coming. We knew the movies that were coming. I think by this point we were kind of aware that they were expanding the universe, that they were creating the universe. We just didn't know anything about it.
I think so. I think we already knew that would be like several movies and like a universe.
They were creative. They're creating universe. So I think so that way when you see the shield, I think you had some people cheering and everything like because you knew that it was coming. You just didn't know how, or how exactly it was going to be made. But by this point, I think you already were aware. Like we already are aware of how movies are coming out before they even come out. We already know like most of Phase 4. We already know what they are by now. Right now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I think people were excited because they knew that was coming. But I love that again, that foreshadows Captain America coming in, and also when Tony finds all of his father's old things, he finds an old comic book of Captain America. That was kind of cute too.
A lot of Captain America but makes sense because Howard Stark was friends
with Captain America.
Captain America, makes sense.
It makes sense. I also like the fact, so Scarlett Johansson was super excited to get the role, wanted the role of Natasha or Black Widow so bad that she actually dyed her hair red before she even got the role, just because she wanted it so badly. I'm actually really happy with, again, casting choice. I thought she was great in the role. I think everyone. I also love Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. I think he's perfect as the villain.
What?
Just Sam Rockwell plays Justin Hammer, the one who brings Ivan Vanko, who gets the bird and has the whole ex-wife.
Because I was thinking about the Whiplash. I was like, oh, but he's not the Whiplash. Why he's the villain? Okay.
Well, he is one of the villains.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who contracts young Vinko to work. Okay. I remember.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, by the way, you slowed down for a second or two, but I'm just going to chalk it up to technology because there's nothing we can control. But but I wasn't surprised that he ended up being a villain because of he played the villain in Charlie's Angels.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that's the first time I was introduced to him. So when I saw him in this, I'm like, oh, well, I know that. I'm used to that. That makes sense to me. So yeah, but I also love, so one of the things, and I think you'll agree with me, one of my pet peeves about this is that in action movies or movies, women wearing heels when there is no point for them to wear heels. And so, but I understand the circumstances of like, if they're in a place where they're running in heels because they literally were wearing an outfit, they weren't expecting this to happen. It comes out of nowhere, fine. But in this, there's a specific scene where she decides, she has her hair up in a nice little bun, and is on and basically tells Happy he has to drive her to the the building, whatever it is that they have to go. No,
I think it's
Tony Stark Expo to where Justin Hammer has his labs and everything like that. They have to get there in time to stop it. And she's in the car, she's getting dressed, and Happy tries to sneak a peek at her dressing. Again, different time, because you watch that now and you go, ooh, that is just that's not something you and then the second thing is that she walks out of there wearing a full-on suit that makes sense for her to fight in, that looks like a badass. What? And then she has her hair down with all these waves and curls. And I'm like, first off, when did her hair go from being up in a bun, smooth out, to curls? And two,
there is this.
What woman puts their hair down to do something like that?
I have no idea. Because I think that the hair gets on the way, to see what's happening.
Every time I have a dance lesson, when I was doing ballroom dancing, which I miss and I need to go back to, I had my hair up, and also had my hair up in a bun, because if I put it in a ponytail, not only would I end up risking smacking my teacher in the face, but myself. I smacked myself in the face several times putting my hair in a ponytail. But so I don't understand how she has her hair down. Like, I guess in terms of like style wise and how it looks, it does look really cool with the hair flying and the this and the sure.
Yeah, but it to be sexy in the screen.
Yeah. On the screen. But I'm like, and then the best part is that when you see Scarlett Johansson training for these fights, for these scenes, guess how her hair is? Tied back in a ponytail.
Yeah, because this is what makes sense. Yeah. You don't want to look nice when you're fighting. You just want to win. That's the point.
That's usually what I thought. But again, this kind of stems back from like how you can tell that this movie was before Disney got involved. The lower plunging lines, the sexier outfits, the fact that Tony gets drunk in this.
And pee on the armor.
Pee in the Iron Man suit. So and also in the first movie with Rhodey, which, by the way, speaking of Rhodey, we went from having Terrence Howard play Rhodey to Don Cheadle, who I remember the first time I was upset by this change because I really liked Terrence Howard, but now I've gotten so used to Don Cheadle. I love him as Rhodey that now when I rewatched the first movie, I'm like, oh yeah, different actor.
Exactly my reaction.
It's weird now watching him be only in one movie. I remember being upset by that because I really liked Terrence Howard. But then, no, after so many years, I'm like, okay, Rhodey for me is Don Cheadle is Rhodey. There's no argument there. He's Rhodey.
I agree.
So I was gonna say, but in that doesn't fit into the Disney doesn't fit into how Disney is. Like, you also have like the two of them on the airplane in the first movie with the flight attendants basically strip teasing, and you would not see that in a Marvel movie now, maybe.
No, it's not a Disney way to do things.
No. The excessive drinking and getting drunk. It's a funny moment in Thor where he gets drunk, but again, it's not like he doesn't do anything crazy or like what Tony does. You don't see that kind of going off the rails. But the other thing, though, this is the fact that Tony gets drunk and is dealing with all of this. It's actually based off a comic book called Demon in a Bottle, which in the storyline Tony does become an alcoholic. So they kind of combine that, and I believe you said another one that they combined, another story.
Yes, it's a comic called Armor Wars 2 from 1990.
1990, the year I was born.
Yes, exactly. This one. This year. So there is a guy, Kirsten the Witch, that accused Tony Stark from stealing the projects. Just like Ian Vanko accuses him to steal the practice of the father.
Ian Vanko accuses him of doing what his father did, what Tony Stark's father did to Ian's father.
The project from the father.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not what I said. Okay.
No, you said that. That's what you never mind. No, because you're saying that he accused Tony of stealing. I'm like, no, I think it's the father of stealing from the father.
Yes, exactly. So this guy works on a technical organic virus that takes over the body of Tony Stark's, just like the Palladium does in this movie. That he needs to change. So this thing about the Palladium is based on this, and also there is this rivalidade. Is this
rivalidade? Rivalidade.
Contra o outro.
Rivalry.
Yeah. Yes. So and in the end, James Brody helps Stark in the final battle as well. So some elements from the story.
Yeah, they combined the two and they did a good job of creating its own story without going too far off the rails. But what I love about the villain, besides the fact that it's a great villain, it's very well, I think, Mickey Rourke does an amazing job of playing Whiplash. It's the name in Portuguese.
Mickey.
It's his name in Portuguese. I remember the first time you told me his name in Portuguese, I'm like, wait, what? What is that? Because in English,
for you, it doesn't make sense.
No, for me, it's in English it's Whiplash. In Portuguese, it's Black Whip, basically.
Yeah.
Which I understand. Yeah. Because I understand that Whiplash maybe sounds a little weird in Portuguese. I'm just wondering where the color came from in the name, since there is no color in the English version.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So that I found interesting. I'm like, so in Portuguese they gave him a color, but in English there is no color involved. Okay, sure, that makes sense. Translations to me are a fun thing. Some of them they translate literally verbatim, like Iron Man, Homem de Ferro. It's the same thing. Spider-Man,
the same.
Hulk doesn't change. Thor doesn't change. Black Widow doesn't change. Hawkeye changes a little bit.
Hawkeye changes. Yeah, it's Gavião Arqueiro. So yeah, it's one name became two names.
What is Gavião?
Gavião, it's the bird. Hawk.
Oh, it's a hawk. So it's basically our hawk archer, basically, right?
Yes. This
Hawkeye sounds better than that. It sounds better.
Yeah, yes.
It makes sense in Portuguese. It just does not translate well to English.
Yeah.
But things like that, I understand the translations. I think Thor is a fun word for Brazilians to pronounce because TH is the death of them.
We just pretend that the age is not there.
Thor. Yeah. Which is a lot of words that start with have an H. You just forget that it exists. Hotel being a perfect example. You don't say hotel, you say hotel, basically.
Yes, exactly. Like forget their age.
Captain America stays the same. Avengers stays Avengers becomes the Revengers, which is funny because there's a scene in Ragnarok where he literally says that, which I thought is funny now.
But it's because in English there is two words. In Portuguese there is only one.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny because I just thought of saying in English they're called Avengers is actually called in Portuguese it's called the Revengers, which makes me think of the scene in Ragnarok where he goes, "We're called the Revengers." That's where my mind went. It just made me giggle because I'm like, it's just basically made a reference to Thor without meaning to. So yeah, that's to me that's the two things. Oh, can I make one tiny comment that I want to understand? What is up with Tony Stark's like pet peeve of people handing him things? I don't get it. Just never got it.
They never explained that.
But it makes no sense because like Pepper Potts in like Avengers can hand him something. I've seen other, but if it's
she's special.
But you know what I mean? Like I've seen other people hand him things, but it's just like I'm confused because I've seen people hand you things. Like you can't fully go through life without being handed anything. Like it's a little impossible.
Well, think about this. He doesn't like people to handle him things, right? Uh-huh. So if he is in a bar and someone hands him a drink, he takes it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like I always thought that pet peeve was weird. Like it doesn't like quite. Never mind. It was just something it's a nitpick thing that I'm just like, but I don't get it. I don't get it. That was it. I thought
me neither because you see, like you take drink when someone hands you a drink. So.
Yeah, so there you go. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, or food is okay.
Yeah, so I just thought that was an interesting like little thing to see.
Yeah, I never thought about this. Like,
I thought of like, why does he hate being handed things?
They never explained that.
Nope.
I think just because he is metido. How is metido?
Oh, I know this, but I don't know how to translate it. I'm drawing a blank here. A snob, a jerk.
Snob, yeah. No, I think a snob it's more metido than
nitpicky.
So
yeah. I forgot what the word is. I get it, but there's sometimes
Google Translator said metido is cocky.
No, I mean yes, he is cocky, but no, he is that. I just okay, so cocky. Good to know.
Yeah, but okay.
That is correct. Actually, that is right. Yeah, it is the correct. It is a direct, but it just doesn't seem to fit when you're describing him how we're talking about him now, because that doesn't describe the fact that he doesn't like being handed things and being cocky. It's just him being an ass.
It's different. Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Snob. I think it's snob.
Yeah. So that's Wait, wasn't there something you liked about the design of Howard Stark's thing?
Yeah.
The World Fair?
Yes. When I was watching the movie, that scene that Howard just making the video for the future city that he was building. Remember about Walt Disney and his projects about the parks. And it turns out that it was really inspired on Walt Disney.
It was inspired by Walt Disney's
and the future Cidade Futurista is what?
Land of Tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's what it's called in English. Like that area, all of that's called Land of Tomorrow.
Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland or Land of Tomorrow. Same the same thing. No, but it is. It is.
So it's based on the world fairs that Disney used to go to have ideas for the parks, and also he took the idea of building Epcot from these world fairs.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Yes. So it's so. I love this, and also that ball on the Epcot. I don't know, but for me, that dome, the glass dome, they have the final battle on the movie, on the Iron Man, reminds me of this ball on Epcot.
I agree with you. It does.
Because of the triangles.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It does. It reminds me of that too.
Yeah. So Disney, I love Walt Disney.
But see, I don't know what influenced what at this point, because by this point, when the movie came out, Disney already had bought Marvel. But was it like a direct influence? Like, what was it direct, or was it just something that they wanted? They've always wanted in the movies and then kept it, and it's just just a nice thing that happened to them that they put something at Disney, the reference to Disney, and then they became a Disney property, or was it? I don't know. It was something I'm curious about, but
I don't
never
know
thought
the
about it
order.
until right. I don't know. No, I just
I
thought about it right
I don't know
now.
the order. Yeah, I don't know the order of the things happened, but
I
I
was just
don't know.
curious.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I like the fact. Also, Howard Stark looks like kind of Disney because of the
Yeah,
mustache.
yeah,
This.
I get that. So, we're going to be doing something special with this. We are going to be doing basically Fate Marvel Phase 1 Part 1, and then we're going to continue doing and do another in a part 2. So right now we finished talking about Iron Man 2, little bit of Hulk. Sorry, the way I said a little bit of Hulk made me think of itty bitty elephant's face from Aladdin. Sorry. Um, so so join us for part 2. But until then, subscribe, click subscribe, click on the little bell so that we can get notifications. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Prima Nerd Podcast. We're going to put this all in the description below. And you can also email us at primanerd2@gmail.com. Let us know what you think, thoughts, comments, feedback, and because we love to hear from you. And you can also listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts as well. And hope you enjoyed.
And we have the other episodes here on YouTube as well. It's if you want to hear us from the beginning, since the very first one.
Yes, you can listen. You can listen on here our first episodes that we've done so far, first 2 episodes. But I hope to see you back for part 2. Hope you enjoyed part 1, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.